Future of OP after Chapter 1060. Please don't read further if you haven't read Chapter 1060. After seeing the God beam hit the island of Lulusha, it opened a lot of possibilities for the future. Sagas, arcs in OP. Just trying to theorize what I could think of. At the highest level, either this God beam weapon has been with WG from a long time, or they just recently acquired it. The attack by the God beam was arranged by Gorosei. So, it might be one of the most powerful weapons WG possesses. This opens the door to the theory that God beam's weapon was Uranus. If that is true, then it might have been with the WG since ancient times. Now, the main question is what was stopping the WG from launching this strike on the Yonkos, other top-tier notorious criminals, whose headquarters are public knowledge. Kaido has been in Wano since 20 years. Big Mom has been on Whole Cake Island since really long. Blackbeard's location is Hashinosu since quite some time now. And, to top it all, the world's most wanted criminal, Dragon, is set up in Kamabaka Queendom. Others from a lower tier than the ones mentioned above are maybe all the other pirates who simply own an island. The most major one of them is Boa Hancock on Amazon Lily, before becoming a Shichibukai. She is the one whose power scale is comparable to Sabo, if not being lower. How do we know that Marines, WG, know these locations? They were able to intercept messages from the Yonko crews stationed on those islands. The communication between Kaido and Big Mom was known to Marines, and in the latest chapter, the communication between Dragon and Sabo was intercepted by WG. Also, CP0 have been dealing with Kaido on Wano for quite some time as well. Stussy from CP0 knows about Big Mom being on WCI, so why not just blow up their islands? The point of common people becoming collateral damage isn't something which WG can't spin a story around. This was seen in Ohara's case and must be the same for Lulusia now. The main reason must be that it isn't powerful enough to one-shot top-tier individuals. It might lead to the islands being completely destroyed. But what happens next if most of the top-tier crewmates aren't dead? The WG risks a war with them akin to the Marineford War with Whitebeard. If this theory is true, then we can have the following. Since he is at least as powerful as Boa Hancock, to gain total control over the world, like they did on Ancient Kingdom, they need all three of the ancient weapons. And this means that sometime in the last 800 years, the WG lost Poseidon and Pluton. We know about Poseidon being a mortal living entity, like Shirahoshi. So, that loss from WG is understandable. Pluton might have been stolen in the Void Century, and secretly kept in Wano. And the most important thing is that the WG didn't know about it. Maybe they know about it after Kaido discovered it, but couldn't do anything about it because of Kaido's might. So, the next arcs might be totally related to all the powers around the world vying to gain control over the ancient weapons. This brings the focus on Caribou. He knows about Poseidon. He might be knowing about Pluton being in Wano, maybe overhearing it from Robin telling Nami. So, whoever Caribou works for, will try to acquire the two ancient weapons. A.2.1. If Caribou works for someone in the Marines, WG, the WG will have the means for total world domination. This means that we will be in the endgame. A.2.2. Caribou works for some pirate, non-WG affiliated person, maybe Blackbeard. Once that pirate acquires tries to acquire Pluton and Poseidon, the WG will try to steal them. This might mean a war with that pirate, or maybe an off-screen low-key standoff. This means that the God Beam is either something which WG recently discovered or something which was newly invented. This might mean that to gain total control of the world, one needs Poseidon as well as Pluton, along with Uranus. If the WG has recently acquired Uranus, they will be actively acquiring the others. This brings us back to A2.1 and A.2.2. This must be the way how WG defeated the Ancient Kingdom. This completely tips the balance of power in the world towards WG. This means that all the Yonkos, revolutionaries and other top-tier criminals go into hiding. Everyone around the world will come to fear the WG, and can't rule openly. For the current situation, it can either mean B.2.1. Pluton or Poseidon can in some way counter Uranus. This again means that for total world domination, Caribou's actions become the key, read A2.1 and A.2.2. For WG, and everyone will be at war to gain the ancient weapons. B.2.2. We are in the endgame. This again means the same for the other powers of the world as in B1 and B2. Next story possibilities include B.3.1. One of the next arcs will be totally for Vegapunk. Maybe all the powers around the world will want to kidnap Vegapunk. B.3.2. The powers of the world try to think of ways to counter this ability, and the next arcs are related to acquiring ancient weapons. Again, Caribou becomes the key. A.2.1 and A.2.2. All the criminals go into hiding. Everyone tries to think of ways to counter the WG. We might as well see a grand alliance of all the Yonkos, revolutionaries, ex-Shichibukai, worst generation, or at the very least between all the like-minded ones, Luffy, Dragon, Shanks, Mihawk, Crocodile, Hancock, Kid, Law, etc. B.4.1. We are in the penultimate saga to find One Piece. Everyone thinks that One Piece is the way to counter WG. We are looking at every pirate, revolutionary around the world looking for the last road poneglyph. The last saga then would be the war with world government. B.4.2. Everyone tries to acquire ancient weapons. We get a lore dump of the ancient weapons, and the immediate next arcs will focus on how to find Uranus. For Pluton, either Franky becomes the most important character, or Wano again becomes the center stage. For Poseidon, the center stage will become Fishman Island, and Luffy directly gets involved, as it is his protectorate. Now, in any way, Caribou's next action still will be the focus, A.2.1 and A.2.2.